"Why are you running away from me, human?" said the alien princess, tears in her eyes. The mission to Lithuria, a distant planet governed by an alien monarchy, was his first real chance. He was part of a small human team sent to observe and learn, and maybe, if luck smiled upon them, to build a bridge of trust between humans and Lithurians. Lithuria was unlike anything Ethan had ever imagined. The sky shimmered with colors he could not name, changing from soft lavender to bright gold depending on the angle of the sunlight. The cities were built from crystal-like materials that seemed alive, reflecting light in patterns that danced across the streets. People, or beings, moved gracefully, their tall, elegant frames gliding as if they were weightless. Their skin had a slight glow, and their eyes were larger than humans, but filled with intelligence and curiosity. Even from afar, Ethan could feel the weight of their civilization, the careful order that ran through every street and garden. The humans were allowed to stay in a safe zone, a part of the city that was watched by Lithurian guards. But curiosity burned in Ethan's chest. He could not sit quietly while such wonders existed just beyond his reach. On his first free morning, he decided to explore. He had heard rumors that the royal gardens were a place of incredible beauty. The guides had warned that humans were not allowed inside without permission, but Ethan felt drawn to the stories. He slipped past the edge of the gardens, careful not to attract attention. The path was narrow, bordered by towering crystal flowers that hummed softly. Their petals shifted colors, almost as if they were breathing. Ethan stopped to touch one, amazed by its smooth, cool surface. A soft vibration traveled through his fingers, sending a shiver up his arm. He whispered to himself, "This is incredible. Nothing back on Earth comes close." As he moved deeper, he heard a sudden splash of water. He froze, looking around. At first, he thought it might be a fountain, but then he saw her. She was sitting on the edge of a crystalline pool, her long hair falling over her shoulders like liquid silver. Her skin glowed faintly in the morning light, and her eyes, wide and shimmering, looked at him with a mixture of surprise and fear. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. She was unlike any alien he had read about. She was smaller than the average Lithurian, but there was something regal in the way she held herself. He realized quickly that this was no ordinary citizen. The way she carried herself, the subtle energy in her movements, and the faint, jeweled mark on her forehead all pointed to royalty. This had to be Princess Leora. For a moment, Ethan thought about retreating, but curiosity held him in place. "Hello," he said softly, careful not to startle her. She flinched at his voice, standing abruptly. Her silver hair swirled around her shoulders as she backed away. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice trembling slightly. "Why are you here?" I'm Ethan," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I'm human. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to see the gardens. I didn't know anyone would be here." Her eyes narrowed and she took another step back. "Humans are not allowed here," she said. "You should leave before someone sees you." Ethan nodded, but he noticed the fear and hesitation in her voice. It wasn't just a warning, it was a personal plea. Something in her eyes told him she was not used to strangers in her space. And yet she was not attacking him or calling for help immediately. There was a pause, a quiet hesitation that made Ethan's heart pound. "I won't hurt you," he said softly. I just wanted to see this place. It's beautiful." She looked at him for a long moment. Her expression was conflicted, torn between fear and curiosity. "You are different," she said finally. "Humans are usually loud, clumsy, and careless. You seem careful, but why are you following me?" "I'm not following you," Ethan said quickly. "I didn't mean to scare you. I was curious. I wanted to see everything." She hesitated, then turned slightly to leave. Ethan saw that she was moving toward a maze-like set of paths that twisted through the gardens. Her steps were quick and light, but there was a tension in her shoulders, a worry that someone might be watching. He wanted to stop her, to explain that he was not a threat, but before he could, she bolted. "Wait," he called, running after her. Her voice broke the still morning air, trembling with emotion. "Why are you running away from me, human?" she shouted, tears welling in her eyes. Ethan froze. He had not expected her to speak like that. She was crying, but why? Was she angry, scared, betrayed? He slowed his pace, unsure what to do. His instincts told him to chase her, to explain, but another part of him told him to respect her space. The gardens twisted like a living maze, filled with bridges made of crystal and streams of water that shimmered with light. Ethan ran, careful not to trip over roots or slip on the smooth paths. He could see her in the distance, her silver hair catching the sun, her figure tense and trembling. He finally reached a small bridge over a glowing stream, and she stopped. Her back was to him, and she looked like she was about to hide again. I didn't mean to scare you," he said, his voice steady but gentle. I wanted to understand your world. I'm not your enemy." She turned slightly, and he could see her tears glistening. "You humans, you don't understand," she said quietly. "You think everything is simple, but it's not. My people, they don't trust humans, and I can't risk them finding you here." Ethan's chest tightened. He understood now. She wasn't just scared of him, she was scared for him, for both of them. "I won't tell anyone," he said. "I won't make things worse. I just want to be here with you safely. I don't want to run." For a long moment she stared at him. Then slowly she nodded. You really mean that?" she asked. Her voice was small, but there was a hint of hope in it. "I do," Ethan said. "I'm not here to hurt you, I just want to understand." She wiped her tears with the back of her hand and took a deep breath. "My name is Leora," she said. "I'm the princess, but here I just want to be me, not a symbol, not a ruler, just me." Ethan smiled gently. "I'm honored, princess, but I promise I'll treat you like a person, not a title." They stood in silence for a few moments, listening to the soft hum of the gardens. The water in the pool shimmered with a million colors, reflecting their faces. Leora's fear slowly faded, replaced by a cautious curiosity. She wanted to know more about him, this human who had followed her into her private world without fear or arrogance. "You are different from what I expected," she said finally. "Humans, you are not all the same. Some are brave, some kind, maybe some even understand us." Ethan felt warmth in his chest. "Thank you, Leora. I hope I can show you more. There's so much I want to learn from your world, and maybe you can learn something from mine too." She tilted her head, studying him carefully. "Maybe," she said, "but it is dangerous. My council, my family, they would not approve of this meeting. They would never understand why I am talking to a human alone." "I understand," Ethan said. "Then we will be careful. We don't need to tell anyone, just you and me here for now. That's enough." Leora nodded slowly. Her eyes, still shining with tears, softened. "Okay, but you must promise. You will not make me regret this." "I promise," Ethan said. For the first time since he arrived on Lithuria, Ethan felt a connection not just with the planet, but with someone who truly mattered. Leora was more than a princess. She was a person, scared and brave at the same time. And for the first time, he felt that humans might have a real place in this alien world. The sun climbed higher, casting sparkling light across the gardens. Ethan and Leora moved together, cautiously exploring the hidden paths. Neither spoke much, but their presence was enough. Each step, each glance built trust. Each moment made Ethan feel that this unexpected encounter could become something far greater than either of them had imagined. As they reached a hidden alcove, filled with softly glowing flowers, Leora finally spoke, her voice quieter now, almost a whisper. "I don't know if I can trust humans," she said, "but I think I might be able to trust you." Ethan smiled softly. "And I will do everything I can to earn that trust." For the first time in her life, Leora felt hope that humans could be more than enemies. And for the first time, Ethan felt that he was part of something much bigger than himself. A story of courage, understanding, and the bridge between two very different worlds. The hidden alcove where Ethan and Leora had paused felt like a secret world of its own. Soft light glowed from the flowers, casting gentle patterns on the crystal floor. Leora looked around cautiously, making sure no one could see them. She seemed smaller in this quiet space, her shoulders relaxed, her fear replaced by curiosity. Ethan followed her slowly, careful not to rush. Every step he took was careful, as if the ground itself might betray him. He had learned quickly that Lithuria was not like Earth. Even the smallest misstep could set off alarms or attract attention. But so far, the princess had not run away. She was walking steadily, though her eyes darted to the sides, scanning for any threat. "Where are we going?" Ethan asked softly. "To a place few humans ever see," Leora said, her voice still trembling but steadier now. "The gardens are just the beginning. There are corridors, bridges, tunnels, places only my family and the council know." Ethan nodded. "I would like to see them, but only if it's safe." She glanced at him, a faint smile appearing. "You are brave, human, or maybe foolish." "I am not sure which," Ethan chuckled. "Maybe a little of both." They moved along a path lined with tall crystal pillars. Light shimmered through them, refracting in rainbow patterns. The air smelled faintly sweet, like flowers and minerals combined. Ethan reached out to touch one of the pillars, fascinated by its smooth texture. It vibrated slightly under his fingers as if alive. He looked at Leora, who was watching him carefully. "You touch everything," she said quietly, half amused, half warning him. "I can't help it," he admitted. "Everything here is different. I want to understand it." "You will," she said, "if you survive long enough." Her lips quirked into a small smile, but the warning in her voice was clear. The path twisted and turned. Ethan noticed that the farther they went, the more the gardens gave way to what looked like tunnels carved from the living crystal. They were smooth, glowing faintly from lights embedded in the walls. Strange symbols ran along the edges, and Ethan could feel a subtle energy humming under his feet. He had no idea what it meant, but it felt alive, as if the palace itself was watching them. "Do your people know about these tunnels?" Ethan asked. Leora shook her head. "No. Only my family, only my council. Humans are considered outsiders. Some of us, we dream of trust, but most fear humans. They say humans cannot be understood. They think humans bring chaos." Ethan thought about that. On Earth, humans often feared the unknown too, but he had never imagined that fear could exist on another world so strongly. "We don't all bring chaos," he said softly. "Some of us want to understand, to help, to learn." She looked at him, her eyes searching his face. "You mean it?" "I do," Ethan said. "I'm not here to fight or spy. I just want to see your world, to know you." Leora hesitated, then she nodded slowly. "We will see if your words are true, but you must follow my rules. Do not touch anything unless I say you can. Do not speak loudly. Do not look back unless I tell you. This place, it is dangerous if you do not respect it." "I understand," Ethan said without hesitation. "Lead the way." They walked for what felt like hours, though Ethan had no way of knowing the time. The tunnels twisted in ways that seemed impossible, opening into vast chambers filled with strange, glowing plants. Some floated in midair, drifting slowly like tiny moons. Others released tiny bursts of light when touched by their own shadow. Ethan could feel his excitement building, but he kept it under control. "You are amazed," Leora said, noticing the awe in his eyes. "Most humans would be terrified." "I have never seen anything like this," Ethan admitted. "It's beautiful, alive, different. I want to understand it all." "You are human," Leora said, shaking her head with a small laugh. "You see things differently. You notice details my people overlook. Maybe that is why I do not fear you completely." Ethan smiled, encouraged by her words. "I will not betray your trust," he said. Leora's expression softened. "I hope you mean that," she whispered. As they moved deeper, they reached a large chamber with a small, gently glowing pool in the center. The water was perfectly still, reflecting their faces like a mirror. Strange flowers grew along the edges, their petals spinning slowly as if floating on the air. The light from the walls created rainbow patterns across the surface of the pool. Ethan could not stop staring. "This place is incredible," he breathed. "It is," Leora said, sitting on the edge of the pool. She traced her fingers lightly across the water, creating ripples that shimmered in multiple colors. "Not many humans see this, not many Lithurians either. Only my family, only my council, and now you." Ethan crouched beside her, careful not to touch the water. "Why are you showing me this?" he asked. She hesitated, looking away. "Because I do not want to be alone. Most of my life is rules, expectations, orders. I cannot speak freely. I cannot move freely. But here I can. And for some reason, I feel that you understand that." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had never been trusted like this before. Even humans sometimes treated him like a stranger, someone to be careful with or avoid. But here, on this alien planet, a princess was trusting him with her secret, with a piece of herself. "I do understand," he said softly. "I may not be Lithurian, but I can listen. I can learn. I will not take advantage of you." Leora looked at him, her eyes shining with emotion. "Do you really mean that?" "I do," he said. "You have my word." For a moment, silence filled the chamber. They both stared at the water, watching the reflections twist and shimmer. Ethan felt a strange connection forming, a bond that seemed to cross species, worlds, and years of history. Then suddenly, a soft sound echoed from the tunnels behind them. Leora's ears twitched. "Someone is coming," she said quietly, rising to her feet. Her usual calm vanished, replaced by alertness and caution. Ethan turned, trying to see who it was. A faint glow moved in the corridor. At first, he thought it might be a guard, but the movement was too fluid, too silent. Leora stepped in front of him. "Stay behind me," she whispered. "Do not make a sound." The figure appeared. It was another Lithurian, tall and stern, wearing a robe that marked them as a member of the royal council. The figure's eyes narrowed when they saw Ethan. "Princess Leora," they said in a calm, dangerous voice. "What are you doing here?" Leora stepped forward, holding her head high despite the fear in her eyes. "I am exploring," she said carefully. "I am alone, but I am safe." The council member's gaze fell on Ethan. "And this human, why is he here?" Ethan swallowed hard. He felt a chill run down his spine. Humans were not supposed to be seen in these corridors, not without permission, and certainly not in the presence of the council. I am Ethan Hayes," he said steadily. "I did not mean any harm. I am here only to learn, to see, to understand. I have no weapons, no intentions to attack or spy, I promise." The council member's expression did not change. "You should not be here," they said. "This place is not safe for humans. You do not belong." "I understand," Ethan said quietly. "But Princess Leora trusts me, and I trust her. That is why I am here." The council member's eyes flicked to Leora. "Princess, you know the rules. You cannot bring humans here. You risk punishment." Leora's shoulders tensed, but she did not back down. "I am aware," she said, "but I am tired of living only by rules. I want to see the world with my own eyes, and I chose to show him he is not a threat." The council member studied them both, the silence stretching for long moments. Finally, they spoke. "Very well, but be warned. If anything happens, if this human causes even the smallest trouble, the consequences will fall upon you, Princess. Do you understand?" Leora nodded. "I understand." The council member turned and left, their robes brushing the crystal floor silently. Ethan exhaled slowly, relief flooding him. "That could have gone worse," he said, a nervous laugh escaping him. Leora looked at him, her eyes softening again. "You are brave," she said, "or perhaps foolish, but I am glad you stayed. Not many humans would have faced the council like that." "I stayed because of you," Ethan said simply. She looked away, a blush coloring her cheeks. "Do not say such things. It is strange." "But thank you." They spent the rest of the morning exploring the hidden chambers. Ethan marveled at everything, asking questions, listening, learning. Leora guided him carefully, pointing out delicate plants, hidden pathways, and small creatures that floated through the air. She was cautious, but she laughed softly when Ethan was amazed by even the smallest details. For the first time, Ethan felt that humans could be more than outsiders on Lithuria. Here, in these secret chambers, with the princess leading him, he felt that perhaps humans and Lithurians could truly understand each other. And somewhere deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Ethan and Leora had been walking through the hidden chambers for hours, yet the palace seemed endless. Every turn revealed another corridor or alcove, each filled with strange plants, soft lights, or pools that shimmered with colors he had never seen before. Despite the beauty, Ethan could sense that the palace held more than just gardens and tunnels. It carried secrets, weight, and a history that even Leora could not fully explain. "You have lived here all your life," Ethan said quietly as they walked along a narrow bridge of crystal. "Do you ever get tired of it?" Leora looked at him, her face thoughtful. "Some days, yes," she admitted. "I love this world, I love its beauty, but I feel trapped. My family, my council, they see me as a symbol, not a person. Everything I do is watched. Every move I make is judged. I have to follow rules I do not always agree with." Ethan nodded. He could understand that. On Earth, people had rules too, but humans were different. Humans could make mistakes, argue, and still grow. It was rare to see someone trapped by rules so completely. "I think you are brave," he said softly. "You have to be careful here, yet you still choose to explore." Leora gave a small, almost sad smile. "Brave or foolish, I do not know which, but sometimes I cannot stay in the shadows. Sometimes I must see life for myself, even if it is dangerous." They reached a chamber filled with floating crystals, softly humming as if alive. The crystals spun slowly in the air, reflecting the light in a rainbow of colors. Ethan crouched to touch one, fascinated. A small pulse ran through his fingers. "Everything here feels alive," he said. "It's not just a building, it's aware." Leora nodded. "Yes, the palace has existed for thousands of years. It watches, learns, and protects. It knows who belongs here and who does not. It is why few humans survive here without guidance." Ethan looked at her, realizing how much risk he had taken. He could have been caught, punished, or worse, but he was still here with her, and she had chosen to trust him. That thought made his chest tighten. They moved deeper, reaching a small room where soft golden light filtered through crystal windows. The walls were covered with symbols Ethan could not understand, but they glowed faintly when he approached. "What are these?" he asked. These are the histories of my people, Leora said. Not all of it, only pieces that can be shared. Some are too dangerous, too powerful. My council keeps most for themselves. They believe knowledge is control. But sometimes I sneak here to see what they hide. Ethan felt a spark of admiration. She was not just a princess. She was brave in ways he had never imagined. You want to know the truth, he said. Not just follow rules, I understand that. Leora's eyes softened. You do understand humans are different. Some of you see the world for what it is. You do not blindly follow orders. You ask questions you think you feel. That is why I trust you. Ethan smiled, though he felt nervous. I will not betray that trust, he said firmly. I promise I want to learn, I want to understand. For a moment, silence fell. They both watched the crystals spin and hum, feeling the quiet energy of the palace around them. Then Leora spoke again, her voice quieter now. There is something I must tell you, something important. It is dangerous. You must promise that you will listen and not run away. I promise, Ethan said without hesitation. She took a deep breath and began. My council believes that humans are dangerous. They say we cannot be trusted, but there are humans who helped us in the past, few of them. Secretly, my family does not approve, but I help them, I protect them. Sometimes I hide humans who escape danger, and now you are here, you are part of that secret. Ethan's eyes widened. You risked yourself to help humans? He asked, amazed. Yes, she said. Because I believe not all humans are dangerous. Some of you can be trusted, I have to take that risk. But it is not easy. If the council finds out, they could punish me severely or worse. That is why I ran when I first saw you. I feared the consequences, not you. Ethan felt a mix of awe and concern. She had put herself in danger for him, a complete stranger. I don't know what to say, he admitted. I never expected anyone would trust me like this, especially someone like you. Leora looked at him with a mixture of sadness and hope. I do not know if I can trust easily, she said. I have been careful all my life. I have watched humans and judged them from a distance. But there is something different about you, something that tells me you are not like the others. Ethan swallowed hard. He wanted to tell her that she had no reason to worry, that he would never hurt her, but the truth was, he did not know how to make her fully safe. He only knew he could try. I will do everything I can to protect your secret, he said. I promise. I will not let anyone harm you because of me. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. It is not just about me, she whispered. It is about everyone I try to protect, every human I hide, every secret I keep. It could all be destroyed if someone finds out. I have lived with fear all my life, Ethan. Fear of the council, fear of failure, fear of losing the people I care about. And now I do not want to lose you too. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. You will not lose me, he said firmly. I am here, I will not run, I will stay. For the first time, a small smile appeared on her face, fragile but real. You speak like a human hero, she said softly, but maybe that is what I need. They spent the next hours moving through more chambers, each one more beautiful and strange than the last. Ethan was amazed by everything, the floating gardens, the softly glowing pools, the strange creatures that drifted silently in the air. Leora guided him carefully, explaining what she could. She was cautious, but she laughed softly when Ethan's amazement overflowed. At one point, they reached a long corridor lined with mirrors that reflected not only their images but faint, glowing patterns in the walls. These mirrors, they do not just reflect, Leora explained. They can show what is hidden. They show the truth of a person's intentions if you know how to look. Ethan stepped closer, fascinated. He saw his reflection, but it shimmered and shifted, showing flashes of courage, fear, curiosity, and honesty. He realized that the palace was not just alive. It was aware of who he was, testing him, learning about him. You are brave, Leora whispered, watching him, and honest. The palace senses that. That is why it allows you to be here. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never felt so seen, so acknowledged. Thank you, he said quietly. That means more than I can say. As they continued, Leora's expression grew serious. There is something else I must tell you, she said. Not everyone in the palace will be as forgiving as the council member we met. Some of the elders, they will not accept you. They will see you as a threat. They may try to capture you, question you, or worse. You must be careful, and you must trust me to guide you. I understand, Ethan said. I will follow your lead, she nodded. Good, you have to understand this world is not just beautiful, it is dangerous, and sometimes the danger comes from those who should protect it the most. Ethan looked at her, realizing how heavy the burden on her shoulders must be. She was not just a princess. She was a protector, a secret keeper, and someone who risked everything to do what she believed was right. "I will help you," he said simply. "Whatever comes, I will help you." Leora's eyes softened again, tears forming at the corners. I am glad you are here," she said. "Even if it is dangerous, even if it is foolish, I am glad." They paused at the edge of a balcony that overlooked a vast chamber filled with glowing plants and pools of light. The view was breathtaking, but Ethan noticed the tension in Leora's shoulders. She was alert, scanning the paths below, aware that anyone could appear at any moment. "Why do you do it?" Ethan asked softly. "Why risk so much for humans?" "Because," she said, her voice quiet but firm, "sometimes the right thing is worth the risk. Sometimes I cannot let fear decide for me, and sometimes I must trust that not all humans are enemies." "I must hope." Ethan felt a deep respect for her courage. "I will not let that hope be wasted," he said. For a long time they stood in silence, watching the glowing gardens below. Ethan realized that their journey was only beginning. There would be dangers, challenges, and perhaps betrayal. But in this moment, he felt a connection deeper than anything he had experienced before. And somewhere deep in his chest, he knew that humans and Lithurians could be more than strangers or enemies. They could be allies, friends, and maybe even something more. Ethan and Leora had been exploring the hidden chambers and secret pathways for hours, yet the palace still seemed endless. Every corridor and tunnel carried its own beauty, but also its own danger. Leora had warned him that not all Lithurians were friendly, and Ethan had begun to understand why. Some of the council members were strict, suspicious, and loyal only to the rules. Others were silent, watchful, and capable of action that could endanger them both. They moved carefully along a narrow bridge that overlooked a chamber filled with softly glowing plants. The air smelled sweet, like flowers and minerals combined. Ethan was in awe, but he knew better than to relax completely. The palace was alive, and it sensed everything. One wrong step, one careless word, and trouble could appear without warning. "Do you think they will find out about me?" Ethan asked quietly. Leora shook her head. "Not if we are careful, but some members of the council are clever. They can sense changes in the palace, notice when something unusual happens. We must be careful and we must move quietly. You cannot act recklessly here, Ethan." "I understand," he said. "I will follow your lead." She glanced at him, her eyes softening. "You have been careful so far. That is why you are still here. But now we are entering an area where even I must be cautious. The council watches more closely here. If they suspect anything, it could be dangerous for both of us." Ethan's chest tightened, but he did not speak. He trusted her, and he would follow her wherever she led. He had come this far, and he was determined not to run. They reached a narrow corridor that led to a large chamber. The walls were lined with crystal shelves, filled with glowing artifacts and small devices that pulsed with energy. Leora moved slowly, her hands brushing over the artifacts without touching them. Ethan could feel the power in the room. Some of the devices emitted soft hums, others glowed brighter as they detected movement. "This place," Ethan whispered, "it is incredible. What are all these?" "These are the records of our history," Leora said. "Not the ones in books, the real ones. The things my council hides from the public. Each artifact here contains knowledge, technology, and secrets that have been passed down for centuries. Only a few of us are allowed to see them." Ethan stepped closer, fascinated by the objects. Some were small, like spheres of crystal that contained tiny glowing shapes inside. Others were like panels, covered in symbols that shifted as he looked at them. "It's like a museum and a library combined," he said softly. "Yes," Leora said, "but it is more than that. It is power. Knowledge is power here. That is why the council guards it so carefully. They fear humans because they think humans will take it. They do not realize that some humans, like you, want to understand, not take." Ethan looked at her, realizing how much trust she was placing in him. "I will not betray you," he said. "I promise I will not touch anything I should not. I just want to learn." Leora smiled faintly. "Then you are different from most humans. That is why I trust you." Suddenly a sound echoed through the chamber. It was soft but distinct, a series of footsteps on crystal floors. Leora stiffened instantly, her eyes darting toward the source of the sound. "They are here," she whispered. Ethan froze. "Who?" "Members of the council," she said. "They suspect something. They may have sensed your presence. We need to move quickly and quietly." She grabbed his hand and led him through a narrow passage that twisted away from the main chamber. The light grew dimmer and the air cooler. Ethan followed without question, trusting her completely. He could feel the tension in her shoulders, the sharp focus in her movements. She was guiding him not just through the palace, but through danger itself. As they moved, Ethan noticed subtle signs that they were being followed. A shadow that did not belong, a soft hum that echoed too precisely, the feeling of being watched. He whispered to her, "They're coming, I can feel it." Leora nodded. "I know." "Stay close and do exactly as I say. Do not speak unless I ask. We must be silent." They reached a small chamber with a single exit, a narrow doorway barely wide enough for one person at a time. Leora pressed her hand to a glowing symbol on the wall, and the doorway shimmered and slid open silently. She gestured for Ethan to enter first. Inside, the chamber was empty, but the walls pulsed with faint energy. Ethan realized that the palace itself was aware of their presence. It had allowed them in, but it was testing them, watching for any mistakes. He felt the weight of it, the responsibility of being here. "Stay close," Leora whispered. "We are not safe yet." They moved forward slowly, following a winding path that led deeper into the palace. The glow from the walls lit their way, but shadows shifted unpredictably, creating the feeling that something could appear at any moment. Ethan's heart pounded, but he stayed calm, trusting Leora's guidance. After what felt like hours, they reached a small room with a single crystal table in the center. Leora pressed her hand to the table, and a holographic map of the palace appeared. It showed corridors, chambers, and hidden passages that Ethan could not have imagined. "This is how I plan our movements," she said. "We can avoid the council members if we follow this map, but we must move carefully. Even a single mistake could expose us." Ethan studied the map, impressed. "This is incredible. You know every passage, every room." "I have to," she said. "It is my duty to protect this palace, and right now it is my duty to protect you as well." Ethan felt a rush of warmth. I don't know how to thank you," he said. "You are risking so much for me." Leora's eyes softened. "It is not just for you, it is for the truth, for the humans who have helped us, for the hope that we can live without fear. You are part of that hope, Ethan. That is why I protect you." They studied the map for a few more minutes, then moved out, carefully following the hidden paths. The corridors twisted and turned, some ending in dead ends, others opening into chambers filled with glowing plants or pools of water. Ethan marveled at everything, but he kept his focus, knowing that danger was never far away. Suddenly, a soft sound of movement echoed through the corridor ahead. Leora froze, pressing Ethan against the wall. Two figures appeared, moving quickly but silently. They were council members, their eyes sharp and suspicious. "Stay still," Leora whispered. "Do not make a sound." Ethan nodded, holding his breath. The council members passed just a few feet away, their eyes scanning the corridor. Ethan could feel their power, their authority, and their suspicion. One step in the wrong direction could reveal them. After what felt like an eternity, the council members disappeared around a corner. Leora exhaled slowly. "That was close," she whispered. "Too close. We must move faster." They continued through the passages, finally reaching a small chamber that opened onto a hidden balcony. From there, they could see the main courtyard below, bathed in golden light. Ethan felt a sense of relief. They had made it this far without being caught. Leora turned to him. "You have done well," she said softly. "Most humans would have panicked. You stayed calm. That is why you are still here." Ethan smiled, though he was exhausted. "I stayed because of you," he said. "I trust you. And I will follow you wherever you go." She looked at him, her eyes shining. "I am glad," she said. "But the danger is not over. We must be ready for anything. The council will not give up easily. They may try to capture you, to force me to reveal my secrets. We must be careful always." Ethan nodded. "I understand. I am ready." For a moment they stood on the balcony, watching the courtyard below. The sun cast sparkling light across the city, but Ethan could feel the tension in the air. He realized that the beauty of Lithuria was matched only by its danger. "Do you ever feel afraid?" Ethan asked quietly. "Every day," Leora admitted. "But fear cannot control me. I must act despite it, and sometimes I must act for those who cannot protect themselves. That is why I stay strong, even when the council threatens me, even when humans are near, even now." Ethan reached for her hand, holding it gently. "You are strong," he said, "and brave. I will do everything I can to help you, to protect you." Leora's eyes softened, and a small smile appeared on her face. Then we are partners, she said. In this we must trust each other completely. No secrets, no lies, only trust. Ethan nodded. Partners, he said. Always. They stood together, looking over the courtyard, ready to face whatever challenges the council would bring. Ethan realized that this was only the beginning. The danger would grow, the tests would come, but he also knew that humans and Lithurians could learn to trust each other. And in that moment, with the golden light of Lithuria shining on them, he felt hope. The hidden balcony offered a perfect view of the palace courtyard. Ethan and Leora stood side by side, feeling the weight of what was to come. The council would not give up so easily. They were clever, cautious, and powerful. But Ethan had learned to trust Leora, and Leora had shown him that humans could be brave, clever, and loyal. Together, they were ready to face whatever danger awaited them. Are you ready? Leora asked softly, her eyes scanning the corridors below. I am, Ethan said firmly. We've come this far, I will not run. Leora nodded, a small smile touching her lips. Then let us face them. They moved silently along the hidden paths, avoiding guards and sensors until they reached the council chamber. The doors were massive, made of shimmering crystal with glowing symbols etched into them. Leora placed her hand on the door and it opened slowly, revealing the council seated inside. The chamber was grand, with high ceilings that shimmered with soft light. The council members sat in a semicircle, their faces serious, their eyes sharp. The air was thick with tension. Ethan felt a rush of fear, but he held it back. He would not show weakness, not now. Leora stepped forward, her posture straight and confident. Council members, she said, I bring someone you should meet, someone who can help us understand the humans. Someone you might underestimate. The council members' eyes fell on Ethan. Murmurs passed among them. He could feel their suspicion, their doubt, but he held his ground. I am Ethan Hayes, he said clearly, stepping forward. I am human. I have come here not to harm, but to learn, to understand, and to help. I know your world is powerful and beautiful. I know that your council fears humans. But I ask you to judge me by my actions, not by the history of my people. The chamber was silent. The council members stared at him, their expressions unreadable. Then one of them spoke, a tall figure with piercing eyes. You speak boldly for a human, the elder said. Why should we trust you? Humans have brought chaos to many worlds. Why should you be any different? Ethan took a deep breath. He had prepared for this moment. Because I am not like the humans you fear, he said. I have learned to respect your rules, your culture, and your people. I have followed Princess Leora through your palace, not to steal, not to spy, but to understand. I have risked everything to earn your trust. If you give me the chance, I will prove that humans can be honorable, brave, and loyal. Leora watched him closely, proud of his courage. He speaks the truth, she said softly. I trust him, and that should matter. Not every human is a threat. Some of us can build bridges instead of burning them. Another council member leaned forward, their expression skeptical. Trust is earned, human, they said. Words mean little, actions speak louder. Can you prove your loyalty? Ethan nodded. Yes. I will prove it. He glanced at Leora, who nodded back. He knew what they had to do. The council elder stood, raising a hand. Very well, you will demonstrate your loyalty by solving a challenge, a test of intellect, courage, and honor. Fail, and you will be removed from this palace immediately. Succeed, and we will consider your words. Ethan's heart pounded, but he kept his composure. I am ready, he said. The elder gestured to a large crystal device in the center of the chamber. It was a complex puzzle, glowing with shifting lights and patterns. This device contains a mechanism that controls the palace security, the elder explained. It has been tampered with recently. Only someone clever, brave, and trustworthy can restore it. Do this and you will have our respect. Ethan stepped forward, studying the device carefully. It was unlike anything he had seen before, but he could sense its logic. His engineering training kicked in. He noticed the patterns, the energy flows, the small locks and triggers. Slowly, he began to understand the mechanism. Leora stayed close, whispering softly, You can do this. Trust yourself. Trust what you know. Ethan nodded. He took a deep breath and started working. His hands moved quickly but carefully, adjusting small crystals, redirecting energy flows, and aligning the glowing symbols. The council members watched silently, their eyes sharp, their expressions unreadable. Minutes passed, though they felt like hours. The device hummed and glowed, shifting in response to Ethan's movements. He focused, ignoring the tension in the room. He could feel Leora's presence beside him, steady and reassuring. Finally, with a precise adjustment, the device clicked. A wave of light spread through the chamber and the energy flows stabilized. The palace sensors, previously flickering and unstable, now pulsed steadily, perfectly aligned. The chamber fell silent. Then the elder spoke. "You have done what few humans could. You have proven intellect, patience, and courage. You have earned a measure of our respect." Ethan exhaled, relief flooding through him. Leora smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "You did it," she whispered. The council members studied him for a moment longer, then nodded. "We will consider your words," the elder said, "and perhaps in time we will learn that humans can be trusted." Ethan felt a rush of triumph, but he knew the danger was not completely gone. The council could still be cautious, still watchful, still skeptical. But he had earned their respect. He had shown that humans were not just outsiders, they could be allies. Leora reached for his hand. "You have done more than prove yourself," she said softly. "You have shown that humans can be trusted. You have given hope to those of us who believed otherwise." Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he had never experienced before. "And you have given me a chance to be part of something bigger than myself," he said. For the next few hours, Ethan and Leora worked together with the council members, restoring other mechanisms in the palace and discussing plans for cooperation between humans and Lithurians. The council was still cautious, but they were listening, asking questions, and learning. Ethan realized that human ingenuity, patience, and understanding could make a difference even in a world so different from Earth. As the sun began to set over Lithuria, the palace glowed with soft light. Ethan and Leora stood together on a balcony, looking out over the city. The glow from the crystal buildings reflected in their eyes, creating a sense of peace and hope. "You did it," Leora said softly. "You changed their minds." "No," Ethan said. "We did it together." She smiled, her hand resting lightly on his. "You have more courage than most humans I have ever met," she said, "and more heart than most Lithurians I know. That is why I trust you." Ethan felt his chest swell with emotion. "I will not betray that trust," he said firmly. "I promise. I will stay by your side and help however I can." For a long time they stood silently, watching the city. Ethan felt a deep connection not just to Leora but to Lithuria itself. He realized that humans and Lithurians could learn from each other, could trust each other, and could build a future together. "Do you think humans and Lithurians can really be friends?" Ethan asked quietly. Leora looked at him, her eyes shining. "I believe we can," she said softly. "If people like you are willing to try, if people like me are willing to take the risk, and if we do it together." Ethan smiled. "Then let us begin." As night fell over Lithuria, the palace glowed softly, a beacon of hope and new beginnings. The council may still have doubts, but the bridge between humans and Lithurians had been built. And Ethan knew that this was just the start of a journey that would change both worlds forever. Leora turned to him, her eyes gentle and full of trust. "Thank you for staying," she whispered. "I will always stay," Ethan replied, "no matter what comes next." And in that moment, as the stars above Lithuria shone brightly, Ethan knew that courage, trust, and the human heart could change even the most guarded of worlds. He had proven that humans could rise above fear, above doubt, and above prejudice. Together, Ethan and Leora stepped forward, ready to face the challenges ahead. The palace, the council, and even the universe itself seemed a little brighter. A human had made a difference, and the Lithurians had begun to see that humans were capable of greatness. For the first time, Ethan felt truly at home, not on Earth, but among the stars, beside a princess who had trusted him, and in a world that had started to believe in the possibilities of the human heart. The journey was not over, but a new chapter had begun. And for Ethan, for Leora, and for both humans and Lithurians, the future was full of hope, courage, and the promise of friendship.